In a world that celebrates noise, attention, and outward display, the silent ones are often underestimated. They do not shout. They do not seek recognition. They do not advertise their strength. And yet, the silent ones hold the most powerful force in life. Their power is subtle, profound, and unstoppable. It is a force that cannot be measured by appearances, accolades, or fleeting influence. It is a power rooted in mastery over oneself, clarity of thought, and the ability to act decisively without distraction. Silence is not emptiness. It is the foundation of extraordinary power. The first reason silent ones hold the most power is awareness. Silence allows observation, reflection, and understanding. Most people are consumed by talking, performing, and reacting. They speak before they think, act impulsively, and scatter their energy in every direction. The silent ones, however, observe, they listen, they absorb the world around them. They notice patterns that others miss, recognize opportunities hidden in plain sight, and understand the motivations of people and circumstances with clarity. 6 months of cultivating silence transforms ordinary awareness into extraordinary insight, giving you an edge that those who constantly speak or act cannot perceive. The second reason is self-control. Silence demands discipline. It requires restraint from unnecessary speech, gossip, and impulsive reactions. Self-control is the backbone of all power. When the silent ones choose not to react, not to argue, not to compete for attention, they preserve their energy. They direct their focus toward their growth, their goals, and their strategy. The more one practices silence, the stronger their self-discipline becomes. 6 months of practicing intentional silence strengthens not only the mind but the spirit, allowing one to act with precision, intention, and purpose when the time demands. The third reason is focus. Silence is the ultimate environment for concentration. Those who are constantly talking, distracted, or reacting disperse their energy across endless stimuli. The silent ones protect their focus. They do not let external noise interfere with their internal clarity. Every action, every thought, and every plan is sharpened by this focus. 6 months of cultivating silence develops a laser-sharp concentration that magnifies productivity, creativity, and effectiveness beyond ordinary limits. The fourth reason is emotional mastery. Silence cultivates the ability to observe emotions without being consumed by them. When others shout in anger, fear, or excitement, the silent ones remain composed. They feel the emotions, understand them, and release them without letting these forces dictate their actions. Emotional mastery allows the silent ones to navigate conflicts, challenges, and crises with grace and power. 6 months of practicing emotional discipline in silence builds resilience, clarity, and strategic strength that commands influence without noise. The fifth reason is strategy. Silent ones plan, observe, and act with intention. They do not reveal their plans prematurely. They do not boast of their victories before achieving them. They wait, and when the moment arrives, they act decisively and effectively. Silence allows them to see the bigger picture, anticipate reactions, and execute strategies with precision. 6 months of cultivating silent observation and strategic planning creates an unstoppable power that is respected, feared, and admired. The sixth reason is patience. Silence teaches patience, the ability to wait, to endure, and to act only when the timing is right. Most people rush, react impulsively, or speak out of alignment with strategy. The silent ones understand the value of timing. They understand that real power is revealed in the right moment, not in constant noise or activity. 6 months of practicing patient silence strengthens the ability to wait, to observe, and to act with perfect timing, amplifying the effectiveness of every decision and action. The seventh reason is influence. Silence carries a weight that words often cannot. A silent person's presence commands attention, respect, and curiosity. People listen when they speak, because silence has cultivated their authority, credibility, and authenticity. Influence does not require constant explanation. It is built through consistency, integrity, and the quiet demonstration of power. 6 months of living in intentional silence increases influence in subtle but unstoppable ways. The eighth reason is inner peace. The silent ones are not distracted by comparison, gossip, or societal expectations. They protect their energy, their focus, and their clarity by maintaining silence. This inner peace allows them to think clearly, act decisively, and live with purpose. The world may be chaotic, loud, and demanding, but silence creates a sanctuary, a source of energy and power that cannot be touched. 6 months of cultivating this inner sanctuary strengthens the mind, body, and spirit, creating a foundation for extraordinary achievement. The 9th reason is observation of truth. In silence, one sees the reality of situations without distortion. Words, opinions, and assumptions cloud judgment. But silence allows clarity. The silent ones perceive motives, intentions, and truths that others miss. They understand who is trustworthy, who is aligned, and who is not. 6 months of practicing silent observation sharpens discernment, empowering the silent ones to make decisions based on truth, not assumption. The 10th reason is mastery over influence. The silent ones understand that power is often not in speaking, but in holding back, in allowing others to reveal their intentions, and in acting with clarity when the moment is right. By remaining silent, they conserve energy, gain insight, and prepare their strategy. Their influence becomes undeniable because it is precise, intentional, and unstoppable. 6 months of practicing this principle transforms ordinary presence into extraordinary authority. Silence is not absence, it is preparation, strategy, and mastery. The silent ones act when others are distracted. They lead when others are reactive. They build when others are scattered. Their power is quiet, deliberate, and unstoppable. They understand that the world measures power by noise, yet true power is revealed in mastery, strategy, and self-control. 6 months of deliberate silence strengthens wisdom, authority, and influence beyond what words alone can achieve. Commit to cultivating silence. Observe, listen, reflect, and act with intention. Protect your energy, your focus, and your peace. The world may celebrate noise, but those who master silence hold the true power. 6 months of intentional practice will transform your presence, amplify your influence, and awaken a level of strength that is invisible to the untrained eye, but undeniable to those who witness it. The silent ones are unstoppable because their power is rooted in mastery over themselves. They do not need external validation. They do not need to prove themselves. They act from clarity, purpose, and strength. Their silence is not emptiness. It is the manifestation of a mind, body, and spirit in alignment. Time is fleeting. Every moment spent in noise, distraction, or reaction is a moment wasted. Every moment spent cultivating silence is a moment invested in wisdom, influence, and extraordinary power. Begin today. Observe, listen, reflect, act with purpose, walk in silence, and in that quiet mastery, discover the true power that has always been within you. The silent ones are the most powerful, not because they speak the loudest, but because they act with clarity, wisdom, and unstoppable strength. The silent ones are often underestimated, misunderstood, and overlooked. In a world obsessed with noise, attention, and constant validation, silence appears weak, passive, or irrelevant, yet nothing could be further from the truth. The silent ones hold a unique, unshakable power, a power that is cultivated through restraint, clarity, and mastery of the self. They do not need to shout to be heard. They do not need to act impulsively to make an impact. Their strength lies in the control of their thoughts, the precision of their actions, and the depth of their awareness. 6 months of embracing silence transforms not only the way you are perceived, but the way you navigate the world entirely. The first dimension of this power is observation. Silent ones watch. They listen. They absorb information that others miss. The world speaks constantly, but much of that speech is noise, opinions, assumptions, distractions. Those who are silent filter this noise through careful observation, discerning what is relevant, what is truthful, and what is strategic. They understand human behavior, recognize patterns, and anticipate outcomes without revealing their own intentions. Observation in silence allows them to respond with intelligence, precision, and power, rather than react impulsively. 6 months of consistent practice in deliberate observation develops insight, wisdom, and situational awareness that surpasses those who rely solely on action or speech. The second dimension is self-control. Silence is not absence, it is mastery. It is the ability to withhold unnecessary words, restrain reactive impulses, and maintain composure under pressure. The silent ones do not engage in petty arguments, gossip, or meaningless competition. They conserve their energy, focus, and attention for matters that truly matter. Self-control is a foundation of all power, because those who control themselves can control the circumstances around them. 6 months of practicing self-control through intentional silence strengthens discipline, sharpens focus, and cultivates an aura of authority that demands respect without uttering a single word. The third dimension is focus. In silence, the mind becomes concentrated, undistracted, and precise. Most people disperse their energy through constant talking, reacting, or overcommitting. The silent ones channel their mental and emotional energy toward their vision, goals, and purpose. Every action is calculated, deliberate, and aligned with their objectives. Silence allows them to maintain clarity of thought, making their decisions far more effective than those of people scattered by noise and distraction. 6 months of disciplined focus, nurtured through silence, empowers extraordinary achievement. The fourth dimension is emotional intelligence. Silent ones observe emotions, theirs and others, without becoming overwhelmed. They understand that words often inflame, distort, or distract, while silence allows clarity and perspective. When others speak in anger, fear, or excitement, the silent ones remain composed. They see motivations, intentions, and underlying truths. Emotional intelligence cultivated in silence creates resilience, insight, and strategic advantage. 6 months of practicing emotional awareness and control through silence builds the ability to navigate conflicts, crises, and challenges with unshakable poise. The fifth dimension is strategy. Silence allows for the careful formulation of plans, the anticipation of consequences, and the calculation of timing. The silent ones act when the moment is right, not when the impulse strikes. They understand that premature action or revelation of intent can sabotage success. Silence empowers strategy because it allows planning to happen in private while actions are executed publicly at the most opportune moment. 6 months of disciplined silence strengthens the ability to act strategically, ensuring that every move maximizes impact and minimizes risk. The sixth dimension is patience. Silence teaches patience, the ability to endure, wait, and act only when circumstances are favorable. Most people are impatient, rushing to speak, act, or assert themselves before the timing is right. Silent ones cultivate the strength to wait, observe, and prepare. They understand that real power is revealed when the right action is taken at the right time. 6 months of practicing patience through silence strengthens timing, judgment, and effectiveness, creating a foundation for sustained success. The seventh dimension is influence. Silence holds a unique form of authority. A silent person commands attention not through volume, but through presence. People listen when the silent ones speak because they know the words are measured, meaningful, and deliberate. Influence cultivated in silence is subtle but profound. It is an influence that persists, that shapes perception, and that earns respect without aggression. 6 months of maintaining intentional silence enhances presence, charisma, and the ability to influence others without confrontation. The eighth dimension is inner peace. Silence shields the mind from external chaos, distractions, and pressures. It creates a sanctuary for reflection, insight, and clarity. The silent ones do not allow external noise, societal expectations, or trivial conflicts to disturb their balance. Inner peace is the soil in which power grows. Those who cultivate it can make decisions clearly, act decisively, and face challenges without being derailed by fear, doubt, or emotional turmoil. 6 months of intentional silence fosters profound inner calm, enabling mastery over the self and the environment. The ninth dimension is discernment. In silence, the truth becomes visible. The silent ones perceive motives, intentions, and patterns that others overlook. Words can mislead, appearances can deceive. Silence sharpens perception, allowing them to distinguish reality from illusion. They understand who is trustworthy, who is aligned with their purpose, and who is not. 6 months of disciplined observation and reflection through silence strengthens discernment, ensuring decisions are based on truth rather than assumptions or superficial impressions. The 10th dimension is mastery over action. Silent ones understand that power is in timing, precision, and execution. They do not rush, they do not react impulsively, and they do not reveal their intentions prematurely. Silence conserves energy, sharpens strategy, and magnifies impact. When they act, it is decisive, deliberate, and effective. 6 months of practicing strategic silence transforms ordinary action into extraordinary influence, creating outcomes that speak louder than words ever could. Silence is not weakness. It is the reservoir from which strength, wisdom, and influence flow. The silent ones hold the most power because they control their mind, their energy, and their actions. They cultivate awareness, focus, emotional mastery, strategy, patience, influence, inner peace, discernment, and mastery over action. 6 months of deliberate practice in silence awakens this power within, transforming ordinary presence into extraordinary authority. Commit to cultivating silence, observe more, speak less. Listen attentively, reflect consistently, act deliberately. Protect your energy, your focus, and your clarity. The world may reward noise, but true power lies in the mastery of silence. 6 months of disciplined silence will awaken a level of influence, wisdom, and strength that is invisible to those who measure success by volume, yet undeniable to those who witness the mastery of the silent ones. The silent ones are unstoppable because their power is cultivated, not displayed. Their strength is quiet but irresistible. Their presence commands respect. Their actions produce impact. Their influence is profound. Silence is their weapon, their shield, and their strategy. Begin today. Practice awareness, self-control, focus, emotional mastery, patience, and reflection through silence. 6 months of this practice will reveal the extraordinary power that is always within you, waiting to emerge. Silence is one of the most underestimated forces in the world. Those who speak loudly, seek attention, or demand recognition may appear powerful, but in reality, they often reveal their limitations, their insecurities, and their lack of mastery. The silent ones, on the other hand, possess a power that is deep, unwavering, and unstoppable. Their strength is not measured by words, applause, or visible achievements. It is measured by their ability to observe, act with precision, and control themselves in ways that others cannot comprehend. 6 months of embracing silence transforms ordinary life into a life of authority, wisdom, and mastery. The first reason silent ones hold immense power is that they cultivate deep awareness. While the world is distracted by noise, the silent ones observe. They listen carefully, noticing patterns, understanding motives, and discerning truth from deception. They see what others miss, they hear what others overlook, and they perceive what is hidden beneath the surface. This awareness allows them to make decisions with clarity and act with precision. Awareness born from silence is not passive. It is a strategic tool, a lens that reveals opportunities, risks, and pathways that remain invisible to those consumed by constant chatter. 6 months of disciplined silence enhances this awareness, creating an inner map that guides every choice. The second reason is emotional intelligence. Silence allows the mind to process emotions rather than react to them impulsively. The silent ones feel deeply but do not act recklessly. They understand the emotions of others and their own, interpreting these currents without losing control. When the world reacts with anger, fear, or anxiety, the silent ones remain composed. They transform emotional turbulence into insight and strategic advantage. Emotional intelligence, cultivated in silence, allows them to navigate relationships, conflicts, and challenges with a clarity and grace that others cannot match. 6 months of practicing emotional awareness and control through silence builds unshakable resilience and strategic power. The third reason is focus. Silent ones are masters of their energy. They do not waste time on meaningless distractions. endless arguments, or attempts to impress others. Silence allows concentration, clarity of thought, and alignment with purpose. Every action is deliberate, intentional, and impactful. 6 months of practicing disciplined focus through silence magnifies productivity, sharpens decision-making, and ensures that energy is invested in what truly matters, rather than dissipated on trivial matters. The fourth reason is self-control. Silence is the ultimate practice in restraint. The silent ones do not respond to every provocation, participate in every debate, or seek attention in every situation. They understand that power lies in controlling themselves, not in controlling others. Self-control allows them to conserve their energy, protect their peace, and act only when it benefits their purpose. 6 months of self-control cultivated through intentional silence strengthens mental fortitude, emotional stability, and spiritual resilience, ensuring that power is exercised wisely rather than impulsively. The fifth reason is strategy. Silence gives space for planning, reflection, and careful execution. The silent ones are not hasty. They calculate, anticipate, and act with precision. They wait for the right moment, the opportune circumstances, and the perfect alignment of conditions before making their move. Silence allows them to observe the environment, assess the players, and position themselves for maximum impact. 6 months of disciplined practice in silent strategy transforms ordinary actions into powerful, decisive moves that change the trajectory of life and circumstances. The sixth reason is influence. Silence carries weight, authority, and credibility. A person who speaks carefully, acts deliberately, and maintains composure commands attention without needing to assert dominance. Verbally, people listen to the silent ones because their words, when spoken, carry clarity, wisdom, and authority. Influence cultivated through silence is subtle but profound. It shapes outcomes, guides behavior, and earns respect naturally. 6 months of practicing this deliberate silence enhances presence, builds reputation, and strengthens the ability to influence without aggression or noise. The seventh reason is patience. Silent ones understand timing. They do not rush to react, speak, or act. They understand that real power is revealed in the right action at the right moment. Patience, nurtured through silence, enables the silent ones to wait for opportunity, observe patterns, and strike when conditions align for success. 6 months of cultivating patience through silence strengthens timing, judgment, and effectiveness, ensuring that each action is amplified in impact. The eighth reason is clarity. Silence clears the mind from noise, distractions, and confusion. It allows deep reflection, careful planning, and alignment with purpose. In silence, the silent ones find clarity of vision and purpose. They understand who and what deserves their energy and attention. They see paths forward that others cannot, make decisions that are unshakable, and act with precision. 6 months of cultivating clarity through silence transforms ordinary life into a life of intentionality, focus, and power. The ninth reason is resilience. Silence strengthens the mind and spirit. The silent ones are not easily shaken by criticism, chaos, or adversity. They have learned to conserve energy, maintain perspective, and act from a position of stability. This resilience allows them to endure challenges, navigate conflicts, and thrive in situations that would overwhelm the unprepared. 6 months of disciplined silence builds unshakable resilience, creating a foundation for extraordinary achievement and unassailable strength. The 10th reason is mastery of presence. Silent ones understand that presence is more powerful than words. When they enter a room, their aura communicates authority, confidence, and focus. They do not need to explain themselves or seek approval. Their silence conveys power, and their actions amplify influence. 6 months of practicing intentional silence enhances personal presence, ensuring that every movement, gesture, and word carries weight, authority, and impact. Silence is not passivity. It is preparation, strategy, and mastery. The silent ones act with precision, influence with subtlety, and think with clarity. They conserve energy, observe reality, and navigate life from a place of strength rather than reaction. 6 months of intentional silence awakens this power, transforming ordinary life into a life of authority, wisdom, and extraordinary influence. Commit to cultivating silence. Observe more. Speak less. Reflect deeply. Act deliberately. Protect your energy, focus, and clarity. The world may reward noise, but true power is rooted in mastery of oneself, strategic observation, and the disciplined application of thought and action. 6 months of disciplined silence will reveal the extraordinary strength, influence, and mastery that is always within you, waiting to emerge. The silent ones hold the most power, not because they speak the loudest, but because they act with clarity, wisdom, and intentionality. Their strength is deep, their influence is profound, and their presence is undeniable. Begin today. Practice silence, observe, reflect, act. 6 months of this practice will transform your life into one of mastery, focus, and unstoppable power. The world misunderstands silence. To many, it appears weak, passive, or unimportant, yet nothing could be further from the truth. Silence is one of the most potent forces in existence. The silent ones, those who do not rush to speak, who do not chase attention, who do not react impulsively, hold a power that is invisible to most, but undeniable to those who encounter it. Their strength is quiet, deliberate, and absolute. The silent ones do not need to prove themselves to anyone. Their power is inherent, cultivated through mastery over thought, emotion, and action, and refined through consistent practice of observation, reflection, and restraint. The first dimension of their power is observation. While others are busy speaking, performing, or reacting, the silent ones are watching. They observe human behavior, social dynamics, and patterns of cause and effect. Their minds are trained to notice details, understand motives, and anticipate consequences. They understand the subtle signals that others miss: body language, tone, timing, and intention. Through observation, they gather intelligence, develop insight, and craft strategy. 6 months of cultivating this level of awareness through silence builds an internal map of the world that allows the silent ones to act with precision and foresight. The second dimension is self-discipline. Silence is a practice of self-control. It is not merely refraining from speech. It is mastering the mind and the impulses that drive speech. The silent ones resist the urge to react to provocation, gossip, or social pressure. They conserve their energy, protecting it for meaningful action and deliberate impact. This self-discipline allows them to operate from a position of power rather than weakness. 6 months of cultivating intentional silence develops extraordinary self-control, allowing one to direct their energy purposefully and avoid unnecessary distractions or conflict. The third dimension is clarity of thought. Noise clouds judgment, blurs focus, and leads to mistakes. Silence creates a mental space where clarity emerges. The silent ones think deeply, plan carefully, and make decisions based on reason rather than impulse. Every action is informed by observation, insight, and strategy. 6 months of practicing silence sharpens the mind, enabling decisions to be made with confidence, precision, and understanding of both immediate and long-term consequences. The fourth dimension is emotional mastery. Silence allows the silent ones to observe emotions without being consumed by them. They understand their own feelings, process them, and act consciously rather than reactively. They also perceive the emotions of others, understanding motivations, desires, and fears that are hidden beneath words and appearances. This emotional intelligence allows them to navigate relationships, conflicts, and challenges with grace and authority. 6 months of cultivating emotional mastery through silence strengthens resilience, empathy, and strategic insight. The fifth dimension is strategic action. Silence is preparation for precise execution. The silent ones do not act impulsively or reveal their intentions prematurely. They wait for the right conditions, anticipate responses, and align their actions with opportunity. This deliberate approach makes their influence powerful and lasting. 6 months of practicing strategic silence ensures that every move is effective, deliberate, and aligned with long-term goals, magnifying the impact of every decision. The sixth dimension is patience. Silent ones understand the value of timing. They do not rush to speak, act, or assert themselves. They recognize that real power is revealed when action is taken at the right moment. Patience allows them to endure challenges, wait for opportunity, and execute plans with precision. 6 months of cultivating patience through silence develops the ability to navigate life with calculated wisdom and strategic timing. The seventh dimension is influence. Silence carries weight. When the silent ones speak, people listen not because of volume, but because their words carry intention, clarity, and authority. Their presence commands respect and attention. Influence cultivated through silence is subtle yet profound. 6 months of practicing deliberate. Silence builds an aura of authority and credibility that shapes perception, behavior, and outcomes without force. The eighth dimension is inner peace. The silent ones protect their energy from chaos, conflict, and distraction. Silence is a sanctuary, a space for reflection, clarity, and insight. Inner peace allows the silent ones to think clearly, act decisively, and navigate challenges without being swayed by external pressures. 6 months of cultivating this inner calm creates a foundation for resilience, strength, and enduring influence. The ninth dimension is discernment. Silent ones perceive truth where others are deceived. Words, appearances, and assumptions often mislead, but silence allows clarity. They see motives, recognize alignment, and understand the intentions of people and circumstances. 6 months of disciplined observation and reflection through silence strengthens discernment, ensuring decisions are guided by insight and reality rather than assumption or superficial appearance. The 10th dimension is mastery over action. The silent ones understand that power lies in timing, precision, and thoughtful execution. They do not act impulsively, react emotionally, or reveal plans prematurely. Their silence preserves energy, focuses intention, and amplifies the impact of their actions. 6 months of practicing intentional, strategic silence transforms ordinary action into extraordinary influence and results. The silent ones do not seek recognition, applause, or validation. Their power is not performative, it is inherent. They conserve energy, observe deeply, and act deliberately. They influence subtly, yet decisively. They cultivate patience, clarity, and emotional intelligence. They master themselves before attempting to master circumstances. 6 months of disciplined silence awakens this latent power, transforming ordinary individuals into people of extraordinary authority, influence, and resilience. Commit to silence, observe, reflect, and act intentionally. Speak only when your words add value, and act only when the timing and conditions align for maximum effect. Protect your energy, focus, and clarity. 6 months of intentional practice in silence will reveal your inner strength, sharpen your insight, and magnify your influence beyond what words or noise alone can achieve. The silent ones hold the most power, not because they dominate in speech, but because they master themselves, observe with precision, and act with purpose. Their strength is subtle, deliberate, and profound. Their influence is undeniable, their presence commanding. Begin today. Embrace silence, cultivate awareness, and step into the extraordinary power that comes from mastering the quiet. The silent ones are the most misunderstood, yet they hold a power few can comprehend. In a world that values noise, recognition, and constant activity, silence is often mistaken for weakness. People assume that if you are quiet, you lack influence, knowledge, or capability. They mistake action for strength and words for authority. But the truth is, the silent ones carry a power that is deep, precise, and unstoppable. Their power is not visible at first glance, but it is felt. It moves quietly, penetrates deeply, and transforms circumstances in ways that loud voices cannot. Silence is the foundation of mastery, and those who cultivate it wield influence far beyond the superficial measures of the world. The first aspect of their power is observation. The silent ones see what others overlook. They notice subtle cues in behavior, voice, and environment. While others speak, react, and compete for attention, the silent ones listen. They absorb knowledge, understand context, and perceive patterns. Their awareness allows them to anticipate outcomes, recognize opportunities, and make decisions with insight. 6 months of deliberate practice in observation through silence strengthens intuition, sharpens judgment, and builds an internal clarity that guides every action with precision. The second aspect is self-discipline. Silence is not passivity, it is control over oneself. The silent ones resist the urge to react impulsively, argue unnecessarily, or seek validation through speech. They conserve energy, protect focus, and channel attention toward what matters most. Self-discipline is the root of personal power, and silence is its practice. 6 months of cultivating self-discipline through intentional silence enhances clarity of thought, emotional stability, and personal authority, allowing the silent ones to act decisively in alignment with their purpose. The third aspect is focus. Silent ones concentrate their energy on meaningful pursuits. They do not waste time or effort on distractions, superficial conversation, or external noise. Silence creates space for deep thinking, problem solving, and strategic planning. Every action is intentional, deliberate, and aligned with long-term objectives. 6 months of practicing focus through silence sharpens productivity, decision-making, and effectiveness, allowing one to achieve results far beyond what those distracted by constant noise can accomplish. The fourth aspect is emotional intelligence. Silence provides distance from the immediate turbulence of emotion. The silent ones can observe their own feelings without being ruled by them, and they can perceive the emotions of others with clarity. This ability allows them to navigate relationships, conflicts, and challenges with skill and grace. Emotional mastery through silence builds resilience, understanding, and strategic advantage. 6 months of consistent practice develops an emotional intelligence that empowers the silent ones to act wisely in complex situations, influencing outcomes without confrontation or drama. The fifth aspect is strategy. Silent ones do not rush into action. They assess situations, anticipate consequences, and plan their moves carefully. Silence allows them to wait for the right moment, ensuring that their actions are effective and impactful. By observing before acting and listening before speaking, the silent ones maintain an advantage over those who act impulsively or speak without forethought. 6 months of practicing strategic silence builds a capacity for precision, timing, and calculated influence that others cannot match. The sixth aspect is patience. Silence nurtures patience, the ability to endure, wait, and act at the most effective moment. The silent ones understand that power is often revealed not through immediate action, but through timing and calculated execution. They can observe, adapt, and respond appropriately, ensuring their influence is maximized. 6 months of cultivating patience through silence strengthens decision-making, increases effectiveness, and ensures that actions are guided by wisdom rather than impulsive reaction. The seventh aspect is influence. Silent ones command respect and attention without needing to dominate through words. Their presence is felt before they speak, and their words carry weight when they choose to express them. Influence rooted in silence is subtle yet undeniable. 6 months of cultivating influence through silence enhances personal authority, credibility, and the ability to inspire or guide others without exerting force or engaging in unnecessary conflict. The eighth aspect is inner peace. Silence protects the mind and spirit from the chaos of the external world. The silent ones are not disturbed by trivial conflicts, gossip, or the need for approval. They create an internal sanctuary where clarity, focus, and wisdom flourish. 6 months of consistent practice in silence strengthens inner peace, allowing the silent ones to act from a place of stability and confidence, unaffected by external pressures or distractions. The ninth aspect is discernment. Silence allows the silent ones to perceive truth that is often hidden. They understand motives, recognize alignment, and see beyond appearances. Discernment, cultivated through silence, ensures that decisions are guided by reality, not assumptions or superficial impressions. 6 months of practicing silent observation develops sharp discernment, enabling one to navigate complex social, professional, and personal dynamics with clarity and authority. The 10th aspect is mastery over action. The silent ones act with precision, deliberation, and timing. They do not reveal their plans prematurely, nor do they react impulsively. Silence preserves energy, amplifies intention, and magnifies the impact of every action. 6 months of practicing intentional silence transforms ordinary behavior into extraordinary results, making influence, authority, and achievement almost inevitable. Silence is not absence. It is power in waiting, observing, and acting with intention. The silent ones do not seek recognition, they do not crave validation, and they do not chase attention. Their strength is cultivated, deliberate, and unshakable. They hold the most power because they master themselves first, conserve energy, and act strategically. 6 months of committed practice in silence develops wisdom, resilience, focus, and influence that far surpasses those who rely solely on noise, volume, or immediate action. Commit to silence. Observe, reflect, and act intentionally. Speak only when your words add value. Act only when your timing and strategy align. Protect your energy, focus, and clarity. 6 months of disciplined silence will reveal your inner strength, sharpen your insight, and magnify your influence beyond what noise or words alone can achieve. The silent ones hold the most power because they master the art of restraint, focus, observation, and action. Their presence is commanding, their influence profound, and their strength undeniable. Begin today. Practice silence. Cultivate patience, strategy, and awareness. 6 months of this practice will awaken the extraordinary power that exists quietly within, allowing you to navigate life with mastery, confidence, and unstoppable influence.